true. So yeah, I'm obviously a nerd, and what you're thinking is probably true. I love Star Trek. I'm starting a dice collection. I've built a sex bot. No, I'm kidding, guys. Give me some credit. I finished my dice collection. Yeah, I want to talk about my parents, but it is difficult for me, and it hasn't gotten easier with time, honestly. It's just, they're so much cooler than me. My mom is a puppeteer, and every year she controls this 20-foot skeleton for Day of the Dead celebrations, and like, I can barely control my dog when she sees a skunk. Pretty cool. Yeah, and my dad, he says, "Ian, I love you, but I don't understand you," which, it's not a joke, but it's kind of a cool line. But more importantly, he also likes to say, sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. He served in Vietnam, and on July 4th, he lit all the emergency flares as a celebration. Then he, went to his commander and apologized and assured him the base was not getting overrun. But comparatively, when I have to apologize to my commander, it's my wife, and it's because I ate a cupcake before dinner. Yeah. My parents are so cool. Last time they visited, they turned the guest house into a hot box, and I had to bust in there like, you guys are destroying your lives. What are you doing? I can't go into the office tomorrow reeking of weed. Then I reminded them, it's legal here, and then they lost interest immediately. But yeah, so two outgoing creative people who have no idea where all of this came from. Like at the hospital, they swapped out their newborn with the love child of Leonard Nimoy and Eeyore. I've always been an old soul, which is what I say for being cranky and refusing to change. When I told my wife this, and she did not stop glaring. When I was a kid, my favorite candies were Werther's Originals and Butter Rum Lifesavers. Even when I was 10, I was like 80. My career that I chose is software, and I don't like talking about it because there's always follow-ups. No one just says, "Oh, okay," and moves on. They say, "Okay, but what do you do?" And I say, "Well, I'm a full-stack web developer." And they say, "Well, what does that mean?" And I say, "It's complicated, but code from the database to the browser." And then they say, "But what specifically do you do in your day-to-day?" So then I say, when an HTTP query proxies the Rails app I work on, it first redirects to the routes I set up, and that sends to the code in the controller, which handles authentication, authorization, AJAX, query params, and external APIs. That data is all aggregated. Then I call the SQL queries I write from the database to get everything put together in active record, where it's then sent to background jobs with Redis and Sidekick, and everything renders sends to the front end where a React component deals with ancient jQuery code from before ES6 was even invented, but my boss won't let me change that. And all of that goes to CDNs around the world, so you don't need to wait more than 3 seconds to see a kid get hit in the face with a dodgeball. And then thank you. And then I say, "Hey, wake up." So I don't believe in high heels. Yeah, no, they're dangerous, they're uncomfortable, they end up on my feet. Obviously, I'm not a drag queen, I'm not fabulous, but what I am is a hero. A hero with small, dainty feet, but a hero nonetheless. Ladies, at the end of the night, if your dogs are barking, and we're walking home, and you're about a women's 9, I will happily, nobly swap with you and stumble around like a baby Bambi for your comfort. Which, honestly, I think that's what Batman would do if he had cool parents. Or any parents, really. Thanks, I'm Ian Gerstel.